And what's the key to their power, their strategy, whatnot? Is mostly deception. So, if you can deceive people or confuse people, deception is for what? To confuse people. Confuse people for what? So that you can better control them. Because people who are confused can always be controlled by people who are not confused. Mm-hmm. That's a universal law. So the white supremacists look at a very powerful force called sex, and they say, we got to confuse these people because they're getting smarter now in the field of education, in the field of economics and whatnot. They're slowly, I mean, not very fast, they're not doing it, but the darker people of the world are kind of waking up to figuring out a little about how to use time and energy in a way that works best, because they haven't been doing it like forever. I mean, and so that comes under economics. And they're getting better educated slowly, you know. They're expanding their minds, getting away from just narrow tribalism and just strutting around all day talking about how great I am in my tribe. They're breaking out of that and getting a universal view, some of them, a few of them, whatnot. So we have to contain them. So if you can't do it by brute force, which we can do it that way, but that's not the easiest way to do it. The easiest way is to confuse them. And so we look at the 9 areas of activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. And in those 9 areas, you pick out maybe, well, religion is pretty powerful, all right, but that's getting to be real chaotic. So when it comes to non-white people, we'll look at what's right next door to it in alphabetical order: sex. Okay? So, hey, if we can confuse them sexually, we can contain them and dominate them, I mean, at a very, much easier than we could through any other area of activity, with the possible equal level of religion. But if you can confuse the people that we want to dominate in religion, and you can confuse them in sex, or you can confuse them in both, oh man, that's a huge bonus right there that can last forever. I mean, and ever and ever and ever. All you have to do is just maintaining it, and just keep that pace up. Because sex is a very powerful thing, and religious beliefs are very powerful things. So you watch people and see which way they go. And if they're all into religion and whatnot, get control of their religions and slowly steer it the way you want it to go. See, that's the white supremacist strategy. And sex is something that everybody has, even people who don't have much of a religion. They have sexual drive. Most people have to have that in order to be people, in order to keep the populations coming,
right,
and all like that. So the white supremacists said, hey, we can't neglect that. This is a gold mine. So what we're going to do, we're going to confuse them sexually more than we're confusing them in any other area of activity. And we got to go all out for it. And we will spare no expense in doing so. And we will knock anybody down who else it looks like they're going to oppose it. Because we're going to say it makes more sense than anything that you have ever heard. This is wonderful for you black people. You black people need a new sexuality. That's what you need more than anything. Forget about the housing. Forget about the education. Forget about everything. I mean, as far as comparatively speaking, these other things count. But I'm saying your sexuality, you dark-skinned people's sexuality needs to be expanded. It needs to be liberated. You're in a little box there, a little primitive box, talking about male with female. What kind of limited prison talk is that? You want to be liberated, don't you? You want more freedom, sexually. You feel like busting loose. Okay, well, we got all kinds of things we can have you doing. And wonderful things you never even thought of. We can add to your repertoire of sexuality. All of you ignorant black people, all of you non-white people all over the world, join us. See, and like an arch deceiver will always do a whole lot of what they're trying to get you to do. Just like a male who is trying to seduce a female with alcohol, he will take a little sip and then he'll hand her the bottle. Say, see, I drank some too. All right? But he'll get her to drink more. Okay? Or use of drugs. That's an old seduction method. In the Northwestern Hemisphere, it used to be alcohol. Now it's other type of things. But a deceiver, the point that I'm making is, a real supreme deceiver will always do quite a bit of what they're trying to get you to do. Otherwise, you won't be convincing. See, so the people who call themselves Indians in the Northwestern Hemisphere, they have experienced that. The alcohol thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people who are called Indians have been devastated by a thing called whiskey. Okay? Rum in the old days. So the conquerors, the white supremacists would say, here, Chief, you talking about water. You're talking about water. You got songs about water. You got water dances and whatnot. Hey, we got some water for you that you never heard of before. It's called what? Fire water. It's got fire in it. Drink a little of it. And that's what they call whiskey or rum. So the chief would take a little drink. And then the chief would notice, say, well, do you drink this? I mean, this tastes odd. This is not the water I'm used to and whatnot. Say, just keep drinking it, Chief. Look, I'm going to take a swig. And he sat there and he takes a swig. You know, here it is, Thanksgiving Day, take a swig. We are Thanksgiving. This is what this is, part of our religious order. You got religious order, Chief. Take another little swig here. Next thing you know, the chief is dead drunk up under the table, and he has signed away his whole tribe while he was drunk. But the white supremacists, they were drinking too, but they ain't drunk. They're doing the same thing with sexuality. They slowly pulling all the black people, including, and it don't take much, the religious leaders and everybody, into that web. Slowly doing it. And I've been saying slowly doing it. Now that you look at what's really going on, they're not slowly doing it. They're going at a gallop worldwide with this sexual sabotage, I call it.
Mm-hmm,
all kind of labels you can give to it. But what they're doing, they're distorting it so that they can ruin all the chances of black males and black females being successful in a relationship in the future.
Yeah.
Talking about going for the next hundreds or thousands of years. That's what this plan is.
Yes, sir.
It's like Hitler's 1,000-year Reich that he talks